Hello and welcome to another episode of the In-Depth series. In the Shraddha murder case, it has been recommended to employ polygraph and narco analysis test on the accused Aftab. Now, the current situation is such that there are many debates about the limitations, reliability of polygraph and narco analysis test from the perspective of GS Mains paper 4th, ethical part of it, and from the perspective of GS Mains paper 3rd. It is important that you understand this topic. Moving ahead from the perspective of prelims as well, we will try to understand the basic details of it. The polygraph test is also known as lie detector test. The moniker goes like to detect lies. But reliability with respect to any test, when we are checking if a person is lying or not, has never been foolproof. It basically is a procedure, polygraph test, which measures and records several physiological indicators. That means indicators which are physically evident in nature, such as blood pressure, pulse, respiration, and skin conductivity. This all is measured when a series of questions are asked and answers are given with respect to whatever the information is sought. And it works on the principle that physiological responses are triggered. They may rise whenever a person is lying, and it would be different from the state a person would be otherwise. So machines are used over here. Instruments such as cardiographs or sensitive electrodes are used in order to gauge the activity of the heart. Rubber tubes are placed over subject's chest and abdominal. Of course, the respiration in order to check the respiratory aspect of it. Small metal plates are attached to the fingers so that pulse can be taken, and blood pressure cuffs or similar instrument for gauging the blood pressure. If we talk about the origin of it, it was for the first time ever used in 1921 by a California-based policeman and physiologist, John A. Larson. He devised an apparatus which simultaneously could measure continuous changes in blood pressure, heart rate, and respiration rate. So basically, it works on a presumption that a person, if they are lying, the blood pressure will rise, the heartbeats will rise, respiration process will change. Okay, then comes the narco analysis test. It is different from the polygraph test. How? In that, machines are attached to the human body to gauge the physiological factors changing. But in narco analysis test, there is an injection of drug in the person this particular test is being employed. The drug is sodium pentothal, which is also known as the truth serum. And here, this particular drug is used to neutralize subject's imagination. Again, it is working on the presumption that if a person's imagination is subdued, he or she cannot make any scenarios. And because of that, the person will speak only truth. Again, this is the presumption. Here, the truth serum or the drug that I have already told you is used, and it was highly used as anesthesia during surgery, large doses. During World War II, it was used for intelligence operation, and it is also endorsed by some, you can say people, some people who are in favor of this as a softer alternative to third degree. Okay, third degree torture, it is a softer alternative to that, because in third degree torture, what does the agencies want to do? They want to extract the truth. Moving ahead, now let's talk about the origin of narco analysis. The term narco analysis was coined by Horsele, and in 1922, it was first time used in criminal investigation in the US. Robert House, who was a Texas obstetrician, he used the drug copolamin on 2 prisoners. Alright. Now, if we talk about the legal provisions of this particular you can say procedure, it is not anywhere the result as evidence is not taken actually as an evidence, but we can understand it from the Supreme Court's judgment in Selvi versus State of Karnataka and another case. No lie detector test should be administered without the consent of the accused. The consent holds the key. Also, those who volunteer must have access to a lawyer. The physical emotional or legal implications of this particular test must be explained to them by the police and the lawyer. And any result that has been garnered under this cannot be considered to be confession. It is not confession. And any information or material subsequently discovered with the help of such a voluntary taken test, although can be admitted as the evidence. Alright. Also, it is against Article 20 Clause 3 or right against self-incrimination, as in a person cannot, an accused cannot be witness against themselves only. Alright. Now let's move to another case that we can see here in order to understand the legal provision. In the D.K. Basu versus State of West Bengal case of 1997, the Supreme Court said that involuntary administration of polygraph and narco test, it will amount to cruel, inhumane and degrading treatment, which is against Article 21, right to life with dignity. It is also violative of right to privacy, which is under this only Article 21. The Indian Evidence Act 1871 doesn't admit the result of these tests as evidence. Alright. Now, the National Human Rights Commission in 1999 adopted certain guidelines in order to guide the agencies on how to use polygraph and narco analysis tests with respect to having a consent, recording of the test. So everything should be there. If we look at the cases which are related to polygraph and narco analysis, we can very well look at the most renowned case, as I could remember, Dr. Rajesh Talwar and Dr. Nupur Talwar, who were accused and now acquitted with respect to the murder of their daughter, Arushi Talwar. So what happened? That polygraph was employed. And narco analysis of one of their compounders was leaked in the media, which was widely circulated. The CBI also sought to give the test to driver and helper of the truck that hit the vehicle carrying the Unnao rape victim in UP, although it was later on, it did not go ahead. In May 2017, Indrani Mukherjee, who was said to have murdered her daughter Sheena Bora, she offered that she would go through the lie detector or polygraph test, but the police said that they had enough evidence against her. Moving ahead, now let's talk about, is it reliable or not? There are certain limitations. In the sense, the American Polygraph Association itself puts the accuracy of polygraphs as at 87%. So it's not a lot. US federal government in 2003 asked for an independent audit. It asked the National Academy of Sciences to conduct a full examination of the accuracy of the polygraph test. The final result was that it was close to 75% and not foolproof, 100%. It doesn't measure any sort of deception, which is the core phenomenon that has to occur with respect to, confessing any crime. And there is no sound theory to back one thing up, that if a person has been put through polygraph test, the state of stress is enough. Even if you're not lying, the state of stress that you're put through in this test is enough that your blood pressure will rise, your respiratory pattern will be different, your heartbeat might also rise. So there is no theory that supports that liars only go through the physiological factor stress. Okay, so this is one thing. Now the way ahead that we have to understand here, because there is limited reliability with respect to these tests, scientific proof, unless and until are there, we cannot take them as evidence. Although they can be certain times used as, one of the plugging of the gaps when we talk about solving complicated cases rather than going through the long investigation process. The government should also encourage the use of scientific techniques, but it should be ensured that strict rules are maintained and ethical guidelines are followed. I will attach the question related to it in the comment segment. You can answer there and I will take your names in the next segment. Thank you so much for watching.